Today we're going to be making a crochet guitar tote bag. So for materials you need a 5mm hook, scissors, a darning needle, and then stitch markers are optional, but I highly recommend them. And then I'm using all weight for yarn, so you need your main color, your strap color, which I'm using brown, gray yarn, white yarn, and then an off-white or cream color yarn is optional. You can just use white yarn in place of that. I'll go ahead and put the abbreviations of the stitches that we'll be using in this pattern up on the screen. Alright, so we're going to start with the body panel. So to do that, we're going to start by making a slip knot. And then we're going to be chaining 20 plus 2 for the turning chain, so 22 in total. Alright, so now we're going to be making a double crochet into that third stitch, going through both loops. And we're going to continue by making double crochets all the way down the row for a total of 20. Alright, so now you want to chain 2 and turn. And throughout this entire pattern, our chain 2 will not be counting as a stitch. So for row 2, we're going to start by making an increase. So we're going to make 2 double crochets into this first stitch. And then we're going to make a double crochet in each stitch down the row, but in the last one, we're also going to be making another increase. So we should have a total of 22 double crochets in row 2. Alright, so for rows 3 through 6, we're going to be repeating row 2. So we're going to start and end with an increase and then make just regular double crochets in each stitch in between. So by the end of row 6, you should end up with 30 double crochets. So I just finished row 6, so it should look something like this. So you want to chain 2 and turn, and we're going to make a double crochet in each stitch until 2 are left, and then we're going to make a decrease in those last 2. Alright, so I have my last 2 stitches left. So now we're going to be making a decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook and pull up the loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch. Pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over and pull through all of those loops. So chain 2 and turn. And then for this next row, we're going to start by making another decrease. And now we're going to make a double crochet into each stitch until 2 stitches remain and make another decrease in those last 2. Alright, for this next row, we're going to again start with a decrease and then make double crochets down the row until 4 stitches remain, and then we'll be doing 2 decreases in a row. So I have 4 stitches left, so we're going to make 2 decreases. Chain 2 and turn. And for this next row, we're going to start and end with a decrease and then make double crochets in between. So for row 11, we're just going to make double crochets all the way down the row, so you should end up with a total of 22. So for this next row, we're going to start with an increase. So make 2 double crochets into that first stitch, and then we're going to make double crochets all the way down until 2 stitches remain, and we'll make a decrease in those last 2. For this row, we're going to start with a decrease and then make double crochets all the way down until that last stitch, and that last stitch will make an increase. Alright, so for rows 14 through 16, we're going to start and end with an increase and make double crochets in between. So by the end of row 16, you should have 28 stitches. For this next row, we're going to start with an increase in that first stitch and then just make a double crochet in each stitch after that. So now we're going to make a double crochet in every stitch except for that last stitch. We're going to be making an increase. For this next row, we're going to make a double crochet in every stitch until we have 2 stitches remaining, and then we'll make a decrease. Okay, so now we're going to make 6 double crochets and then chain 2. And then we're going to make a decrease, two double crochets, and another decrease, and then chain 2 and turn. And now we're going to make 2 decreases. Now you only want to chain 1, and then we're going to make 2 single crochets. And then we're going to chain 1 and cut our yarn. Okay, so it should look like this. So now we're going to pick up our yarn and we're going to attach it from the 9th stitch away from where we ended this last one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right here in this 9th one, we're going to attach the yarn, tying that down. And then we're going to make a slip stitch, a single crochet, a half double crochet, and then 11 double crochets to reach the end of the row. Alright, so chain 2 and turn, and now we're going to make 8 double crochets. And then we're going to make a half double crochet, single crochet, and a slip stitch. We're going to chain 1 and turn. So now we're going to make 2 slip stitches. A single crochet, half double crochet, and then 7 double crochets. Chain 2 and turn. Now we're going to make a double crochet decrease and then 5 double crochets. And we're going to leave these remaining stitches unworked. So we're just going to chain 2 from here and turn. So we're going to do a decrease, 2 double crochets, and another decrease, chain 2 and turn. Okay. We're going to make 2 decreases, chain 1, and now we're going to make 2 single crochets and cut our yarn. Alright, so it should look like this. So now what you want to do is repeat this same exact body panel, but the second time around, do not cut your yarn after that last step. And then you're just going to set it to the side and we'll get back to it later. Alright, so now we're going to make the white panel of the guitar. So to do that, we're going to start with a slip knot. And then you want to chain 3. And starting in the second chain from the hook, we're going to make 2 single crochets. Now you want to chain 2 and turn, and we're going to do 2 double crochet increases. So we're going to increase in this first stitch and in this next one, and chain 2 and turn. For this next row, we're going to start and end with a double crochet increase and make 2 double crochets in between. Chain 2 and turn. Now we're just going to do a row of 6 double crochets. Chain 2 and turn. We're going to make an increase in this first stitch and then make 5 double crochets. And now we're going to chain 12 plus 2 for a turning chain, so a total of 14 chains. Alright, so in the third chain from your hook, we're going to make a double crochet increase. And then we're going to make double crochets all down this chain and all along this part. And then in that last stitch, we're going to make another increase. chain 2 and turn. And now we're going to make double crochets all down the row until 2 stitches remain, and we'll make a decrease in those last 2. Chain 2 and turn, and now we're just going to make a row of double crochets. Chain 2 and turn. And start with a decrease, make double crochets all the way down, and then make an increase in that last stitch. Chain 2 and turn. And now we're going to start with an increase, make double crochets all the way down until 2 stitches remain, and make a decrease in those last 2 stitches. Chain 2 and turn. We're going to start with a decrease, make double crochets down, and increase in that last stitch. Chain 2 and turn. Make an increase in the first stitch, double crochet all the way down, and decrease in the last 2. Chain 2 and turn. And now we're going to make double crochets all the way down the row and make an increase in the last stitch. For this next row, we're going to make an increase in the first and last stitch and make double crochets in between. Chain 2 and turn. And we're going to make an increase in the first stitch, double crochet down until 2 stitches remain, and make a decrease. Chain 2 and turn, and for this next row we're going to start and end with a decrease. Chain 2 and turn, and now for this row we're going to start with an increase and end with a decrease with double crochets in between. Chain 2 and turn, and for this row we're going to start and end with a decrease with double crochets in between. Chain 2 and turn, and now we're going to make a double crochet decrease, a double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, and now we're going to skip a stitch and make a slip stitch and chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to skip this first stitch and make a slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and make make a double crochet increase in that last stitch. Chain 1, and when you cut your yarn, you want to leave a very long tail because we're going to be sewing this onto the main body panel. Alright, so we are now going to make the pickups. So to do that, we're going to make a slip knot. And we're going to chain 10 plus 2 for a turning chain. And then starting in the third stitch from your hook, we're going to make a double crochet and continue that down the row for a total of 10. And then we're going to cut our yarn, leaving a long tail for sewing. And we're gonna repeat that 2 more times. Alright, so now you want to take your gray yarn and cut about 1 foot to 1.5 feet long strip, and go ahead and thread that through your needle. Alright, so you want to take one of these pickups that you just made and insert your needle through the back of the first double crochet and leave a longer tail. And then you want to insert it into that next double crochet and then go back up through this next one and just continue this all the way down, weaving it in and out through each double crochet. When you're done, you can go ahead and weave in the 2 gray ends into the back of this and cut your yarn. So now with our gray yarn, we're going to make the bridge. So go ahead and make a slip knot and then chain 10 plus 2 for a turning chain. Then make a double crochet in the third stitch from the hook and continue making double crochets down the row. Chain 3 and turn. And now we're going to skip this first stitch, and then the second one make a double crochet. Chain 1. Skip a stitch and make a double crochet, and repeat this down the row. And now we're going to make a double crochet in this hole, and then a double crochet in the top of the one from the previous row. And again, just repeat this down the row, going in the hole and then into the top of the double crochet from the previous row. For this last one, just go into that second chain. And then go ahead and cut your yarn, leaving a long tail. So now, again, with our gray yarn, we're going to make an input jack. So we're going to start by making a slip knot, and then chain 3 plus 2 for a turning chain. So in that third chain from our hook, we're going to make a double crochet increase. Then 1 double crochet. And then make another increase into that last stitch. Chain 2 and turn. And for rows 2 through 4, we're going to make 5 double crochets. chain 2 and turn, and now we're going to make a decrease, a double crochet, and another decrease, chain 1, and then we're going to make a slip stitch, a single crochet, and another slip stitch, and then fasten off, leaving a long tail. And now we're going to be making the 3 knobs. So you want to take your off-white or cream colored yarn, and to start you want to make a magic circle, and we're going to be making 6 single crochets inside. Tighten that and slip stitch back into that first single crochet, and cut your yarn. You want to leave a long tail for this. You want to repeat that 2 more times. So now at this point you want to sew all of your pieces together. So I'm going to start by sewing all of the smaller pieces onto this white section first, and then once I get that done, I'm going to sew this white section onto the first panel that we made that's not attached to the yarn. And I'll go ahead and put a reference photo up on the screen so you can make sure all the parts are in the right place. Also, I just wanted to note that this main guitar panel will have a few ends on it. You can go ahead and weave them in now, or you can wait and just crochet over them as we attach the panels together. Alright, so now you want to go ahead and pick up the panel that is still attached to the yarn and chain 1. And we're going to be making a border of single crochets except for the top part of this panel. So these aren't actual stitches that we'll be working into, but I try to make around 2 single crochets per 1 row of double crochets. So I'll be making like 2 single crochets in this 1 double crochet. And you want to try to get under both loops, or 2 loops, just for extra strength. Alright, so I just finished my row of single crochets, so now I'm going to chain 2. And now we're going to be making a double crochet in every stitch until we get to this point where we started our single crochet row. And when we're making these double crochets, we want to do them in the back loop only. Okay, so I just finished my row, so now you want to chain 2 and turn. And now we're going to be making 2 more rows of double crochets, but this time we're going to be working through both loops. Alright, so I just finished my last row, so now I'm going to chain 1. And now you want to line up your other panel, and we're going to be single crocheting these 2 panels together. And this is where I would recommend using stitch markers to line up each corner together. So as we do this, you want to be working through both loops on the panel we're attached to. And again, these are actual stitches on this other one, so just try to go under 2 loops as well. And I'm also going to be working over these ends. Okay, so I just finished attaching the 2 panels, so go ahead and cut your yarn. So now our last step is to make the strap. So go ahead and get your strap color, and we're going to just be chaining the length that we want ours. So I'm going to be chaining 85, and then you want to chain one more for the turning chain. So I'm going to make a total of 86. Alright, so now in the second chain from our hook, we're going to make a single crochet. And we're going to make a total of 5 rows of single crochets, chaining 1 at the start of each row. Okay, so I just finished my last row of the strap, so go ahead and cut your yarn, leaving a long tail, and then thread your yarn through your needle. And now we're going to attach the strap to the bag, so go ahead and find one side of your bag. Once you reach the next corner, you can go ahead and weave in this end and cut your yarn. Lastly, you want to go ahead and cut a long piece of yarn, probably about 1.5 feet long, and go ahead and thread it through your needle. And you're just going to be repeating the same thing on the other side, making sure that there's no twist or anything in your strap. And you're done. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please comment them down below. Bye guys.